And one thing that has been on my mind, I'm going to probably talk about it a little more on the show, but I just kind of wanted to like just share a thought that I had, I just realized I'm wearing my Hgraph hoodie today. It's laundry day, so I don't have very much clothes, if anyone's familiar. Yeah. So anyways, funny, but so when we talk about the network and we talk about Hedera and all these different types of things, one topic that I don't think we talk about enough, a problem that I don't think we all get attached to enough, a theme that maybe is not top of mind for people that should be, is the correlation between the attention something receives in this industry and the support that it gets. And to me, I found the rule to be, and I'll maybe use the Hedera ecosystem as an example, is if something gets talked about a lot, it receives more support, right? If there's more awareness about an aspect of the network and the community understands why it's important and the value that it gives them, the more likely it is for that aspect of the network to receive support. And then on the other end of it, arguably important aspects of the network that the community may not know about or might not understand why they're important or how it impacts them. That lack of awareness translates to a lack of support. And we've seen this in different areas of the network. And what bums me out about this is one of my favorite things about Hedera is how unique it is as a network. And a common thing that we often talk about is, wow, Hedera has, low fixed fees, makes the network unique. Hedera is ABFT, makes the network unique. Hedera is carbon negative, makes the network unique. Hedera has, very fast time to finality. That makes it unique, puts it in the top 5% or whatever. And so it's these qualities about the network that we're very excited about. And we talk about these things quite a bit. And why I bring up my hoodie, this kind of ties it into it really well. But it's been very interesting for me to, for anyone that isn't aware, like I work at Hgraph now, and Hgraph is a mirror node service provider. So basically, we provide people data access to, you've heard probably maybe about mirror nodes or different things like that. And Hgraph is like an infrastructure company working with a lot of the major names in the ecosystem. Little known fact, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but if you go to the Hedera homepage and you see the counter for transactions, that's data from Hgraph. So it's very interesting because I think a lot of times that people hear about mirror nodes is when something breaks or something goes wrong. And this is kind of what I'm talking about is, if something gets attention, it gets support, right? If something doesn't get too much attention, it doesn't really get the support that it needs. And I think that mirror nodes fall in that category of, they don't really get a lot of attention. The idea, the concept of a mirror node doesn't really get a lot of attention. It's not really a part of the conversation. It's not part of the Hedera meta, and it doesn't really get the support that it needs. And so the ramifications of that are there aren't very many providers, and it's not an easy business to be in. And I think that there are all sorts of different ways to deal with that. But I'm a big believer that yes, there are technology problems, and yes, there are different ways to solve these types of things. But I think for me, a lot of the times is just storytelling. And what I mean by that is a big revelation I had when I came to work at Hgraph is I was kind of like, oh, okay, I'm going to get a new perspective on this network, right? I've pretty much been on the front-facing side, the community side. Now working at an infrastructure company, I was like, hey, I'm going to, get a fresh perspective on the network or get a new angle or learn some new things. But what actually ended up happening for me is I ended up discovering the other half of the network, right? There's a whole other half of this network that I didn't really know about. And it might sound crazy, but and again, I don't want to talk your ear off about this today. I'll share some more on the show, later on, but on other episodes. But for me, what I'm trying to tell people is there's another half to the network that is crazy cool that we just don't talk about. And it solves a big problem, and it's very cool. And I think that's the part that's been missed. And what I'll explain really quickly, and my big moment with this is, we all, like I said, we love things about Hedera that makes it unique, innovative, breakthrough things. There is something else about the Hedera network that is incredible, just as incredible as TPS and all these different types of things, ABFT, carbon negativity, the governing council, blah, 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 that I and many people just never really tapped into. And what it is it's actually how the Hedera network is designed at its core. And what I mean by this is, when you have a crypto network, pretty much every crypto network out there, you've got nodes, right, that process transactions and allow you to get information from the network, right? So these nodes on the network have to be really good at processing transactions and storing transactions and all these different types of things. And what's unique about Hedera is, in that kind of system where you have nodes that handle read and write, what Hedera decided to do, and again, this is very unique, Hedera decided to split those and say, instead of having one node type that writes transactions and reads transactions and is very good at writing and reading transactions, what if we made two different types of nodes? A node type that is excellent at writing transactions, consensus nodes, and a node type that is excellent at reading transactions, mirror nodes, and separate that. And what that is that at the core is the incredible scalability of Hedera, because not only is it just a super unique aspect about the network, but it's a big reason why the network is so performant. And it's such an exciting, cool part of the network. It's the other half of the network. And why I say that is, a lot of the news stories I talk about on this show, a lot of the things we talk about in the ecosystem, it's about the right side of the network, right? The writing transactions side, the consensus nodes. We talk about the governing council, all the transactions being written to the network. We talk about all the action happening, all the use cases being built, who's putting things into the network. That's all very, very, very exciting. But when a transaction is written to the network, where does it go? We've got 50 billion transactions, right? That's dozens of terabytes of information. That's bigger than any other network out there. The amount of information Hedera generates is massive. And so it's a whole other side to this network. A whole other half of this network is the read side. It's, okay, so we've got this massive amount of valuable information, our collective shared story over time. And there's so many valuable things that you can get from that. And so maybe a wallet needs to use it to display your balance for your account, or maybe you want to find out how many NFTs were minted today or whatever. But then there's so many other complex type of things that you can do. Reading the network, asking Hedera questions and getting answers is a massive part of what this is all about, right? It's half of what this is all about. An application, half of what the application does is write things to the network, but the other half is reading things from the network. And because of a lack of attention and understanding on the read side of the network, on the mirror node side of the network, that hasn't received the support. That whole half of the network hasn't received the attention and support that it needs to be as strong as it can be. And it's led to problems. And we can try to make it better and faster and cooler and more features, but it doesn't matter because we have to talk about it. And I didn't know about it. It took me working for a company to understand this. And what that tells me is there's a huge, exciting story, a captivating adventure that we can all take together to the other side of the Hedera network, where there's so much cool stuff and so many cool possibilities that I'm really excited about. And sure, It's not about writing things to the network. It doesn't really relate to a lot of the things that we talk about, but it makes it all possible. And it's a very unique type of thing. And it's important to know about, because as developers come into this ecosystem, it can be a bit of a learning curve maybe, and all these different types of things. So in summary, it's just, and I know I've kind of rambled here a bit, but I'm very passionate and excited about this other half of the network, right? I love and talk about the right side of the Hedera network, writing transactions to it, all these exciting things being put into the network. It's so exciting. It's what we talk about. But now we're at the phase where we've got to start really reading the network and getting information from it, getting these insights from it, solving so many of these problems that we have, like we talk about with the crypto press, a lack of information, all these types of things. The information is there. You know, companies like Hgraph have that information. We're building tools to make it easy to get it. And this is what we've got to be talking about. We have to walk and chew gum at the same time. There is a different type of conversation that has to happen in this ecosystem, because the network is just so different and unique and cool. Hedera does not have one node type processing read and write transactions. It does not have layers above it to help sort through that information. At the protocol layer, Hedera has separate node types for reading and writing information. It's a game changer. It's breakthrough in DLT. It's totally unique and it's totally exciting. And we just don't talk about it a ton. So I would just say I'm going to be sharing some stuff. Hgraph will be sharing some stuff, but check it out. And I don't want to talk about like the project I work for, the company I work for on the show. I like to be objective and stuff, but for me, it's just working at Hgraph, learning about this other side of the network, this whole other half of the network, just got me so inspired, so energized. It was one of those dreams that you have where you like realize there's a hidden room in your house or something. It felt like there was a hidden house in my house. It was just so cool. So I just feel like there's so much more to explore together that we haven't really checked out. I'm going to be talking about it on the show. The read side of the network, the other side of Hedera, the other half of the story. We got to play catch up. We got to get it going. We got to have that stuff working properly. But anyways, ramble over. That's what I was excited about. I have been very excited about it recently, been learning a lot, and I want to pass along that info to everybody.